around a 10% bounce so far on this altcoin chart. This is a zoomed in daily chart. This is 10% move on altcoin markets. This is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. I want to start the video by I want to say this. We got to be careful. There's not been a bull confirmation from a technical perspective. That's what I want to do. I want to do some technical analysis in the video. But everybody, the macro mindset, I'm telling you, the macro investor, which is many of you out there, this is a very good mix of ingredients that is happening right now. I'm going to look at altcoin markets. I'm going to look at Bitcoin on the short term, Bitcoin on the zoomed out. We're going to look at S&P 500 stock market. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. U.S. stocks are heavily spiking after President Trump announced a 125% tariff on China and a 90-day pause on countries who reached out to negotiate. What is up, everybody in the chats? Listen, my thought throughout this entire process has been deals will be done, short-term pain while this plays out. And what is happening right now, I think, is the absolute perfect example of why not to get emotional in the short term. It's just a perfect example. I want to start with this clip. And by the way, this is insane to me. Not right before, but shortly before Trump made his post about pausing tariffs, he basically told everybody it's a great time to buy. He basically signaled to everybody it is a good time to buy. So let's look at this clip real quick.
If I could just add to what the secretary said, many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the...
I posted yesterday, China's going to make a deal, everybody. And I've been talking about, and I posted the other day this quote from Art of the Deal, which she was just mentioning. This was published in 1987. It's obvious what Trump has been doing. Leverage is having something the other guy wants, or better yet needs, or best of all, simply can't do without. Right in front of almost everybody, even like the best market analysts out there, didn't even realize the whole plan right now has been to isolate China. And right now we have around 75 countries or something that are on board with making deals and negotiating. Tariffs have been paused. Check this out. Then we're going to get into some real price action analysis.
This was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along. And that, you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors. And we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners.
This is heating up, everybody. This is I've been doing crypto analysis over the years. It's been so much charts, so much crypto news. We've really been getting into it lately in terms of now we're just doing tariff analysis. And I'm not a tariff pro. I've had to learn so much in the last couple of weeks. But what is happening right now is clear. And for America especially, I live in America. This is what it is. This is very important to me. If America is going to become the crypto capital of the world, America needs even more strength and leverage and a sense of independence that it had in times past. And we are pivoting to that right now. And that is very big for crypto, because I'm telling you, America will be responsible for opening up the floodgates in terms of crypto innovation and liquidity and trillions of dollars coming into space. So what's happening right now with macroeconomic stuff and just global affairs with trade, it really is important, and we have to work it into the analysis. I'm not saying it's the most exciting thing. I'm not saying I have a PhD in tariffs, because I don't. But I'm very much interested in what is happening right now on the global stage, because it plays highly into our gains. Last thing, soon China will stop trying to flex. A deal will be made. I posted that yesterday, and I think we're getting very close. So here's the deal. I want to look at charts, and I agree with Jerry. I really do. Hit the like. Hit that like on the way in, everybody. We're in this environment right now. If I'm zoomed in on the altcoin charts, we are pumping, right? We're getting like some type of bounce. And I want to be very clear. We need to be careful. This does not mean this green candle marks the bottom. This news, it doesn't mean it marks the bottom. We have other things in play, like with the China trade war is still on, by the way. But we have other things in play. We have CPI data coming. We see how markets react to that. Tariffs or no tariffs. We have Jerome Powell and the Fed. What are they going to do? We're starting to get signal, I think, from FOMC minutes that the Fed is getting ready to taper off quantitative tightening. This is something I've been talking a lot about on this YouTube channel, because when it comes to the altcoin market right here, the Fed net liquidity is what we're waiting for. And check it out. We want to see this green line start ticking higher. That's the liquidity move that we're looking for altcoins to explode. It's not even like we need quantitative easing for this to start trending up, that green line. Even a tapering off of QT can lend itself to that happening. So things are coming together very nicely for macro investors. If you're a zoomed in person out there and you're trying to trade and you're trying to leverage trade and leverage short and leverage long, and then you're getting chopped up all over the place, this is crazy environment for that. I don't do that stuff anyway, let alone right now. So with that being said, let's kind of try, I guess, to do some analysis on everything going on. And I really do want to sprinkle in the whole, like, the possibilities of a continued dip and a bottoming out formation, because just because we're getting a nice green candle doesn't mean anything. So what I want to start with, I think, because I've been talking about it so much, is the fear index on the S&P 500 index. This is kind of an update even to this morning's video. I think we were like up here somewhere. We are falling on the daily. So all I've been talking about, if we kind of change this to, let's just go to a weekly, is, and you can see the weekly candle. Why is the weekly candle even looking like that? I guess it needs to update, but well, no, that's right. This is right. Look at that red weekly candle. What we've been discussing is we've surpassed just so many historic times of high fear. If you look at COVID, look how far into COVID high fear we got. That's what just happened. I think this has not been mentioned enough. I've been trying to mention it. The Trump tariff panic of 2018 is becoming eerily similar to what's playing out right now. And so with that being said, you obviously saw on the fear index the similarities, right? So Trump 1.0, fear, tariff fear, bear market lows right here. And then it was up only until COVID, right? And then fear right here, the tariff fear, this Trump 2.0. So if you go and you look at Bitcoin, Trump 1.0, the tariff fears, bottom, the VIX, the fear index, like topping out, this was the bottom for Bitcoin. And then it was reversal. But really, besides just that hopium soundbite, I want to point out to you, yeah, we had like kind of a bounce, but look at the pain still. Like it was months of kind of grueling and unknown. We could be in that environment. So I don't want to sit here and just say, everybody, it's game on right now. I think it is on the macro, game on, by the way. I think this tariff is going to be net positive for everybody, really for everybody. Fairness and equality in trade is going to be a good thing for everybody, okay? Not just America. That's very good for America too. But this will be over soon. And then what happens with QT tapering off? What happens when money printers come on? So that is bullish. But the bottoming out formation, if you look back here, right? Tariff wars, you look at the bottoming out formation of a typical bear market, right? You look at the bottoming formation that we just had on Bitcoin back here. It takes time and it's choppy. And we could be in that environment right now. So I don't want to sit here and say, everybody, bottoms in, up only. I don't want to sit here and say that. On the macro, I think we're going to continue trending up. I've been saying that, even amidst all of this high fear that we're in right now. That has been my standpoint. So with that being said, I can't believe I'm continuing to track this. And I really, at this point, it really makes me very bullish, and I'm trying to contain it. The fact that this inverse head and shoulders that we've been tracking for so long, I can't wait till it's all over. And even we talked about the throwback to the neckline. I just can't believe, with all of the high fear, like reaching COVID levels of fear, that Bitcoin has held on the neckline. And besides that neckline in red, you see the 50-week moving average confluent with that neckline. Bitcoin has held on, and it's just too beautiful of a technical move. It's almost like it's almost like it's too beautiful of a move that it's going to fail, right? I see that often. It's like there's no way. But if this sets up as just classic inverse head and shoulders throwback for support and continuation, and by the way, we could have a little bit of choppiness along this area and then continuation, and it's still in play. So this could play into that choppiness that we just looked at, right? The volatility. We could dip back into the 70s. Well, but we can kind of just wrap around this area. Remember, for me, it's been $75,000 to $80,000 range to the downside has kind of been that target around this neckline. So we're holding it. So if Bitcoin, manages to hold it, I don't know. That's what we'll be tracking. But here's the deal. On the daily chart, when we're starting to really zoom in, like I know because I'm a macro investor, many of you are, but at the same time, we're all opening our charts, all like nonstop throughout the day. And so for me opening up my charts, this is why I do zoomed in, because I like to get an idea of, like, are we really reversing a trend here? Is this thing flipping around and turning around? Are the bulls back in charge? And I will tell you right now, they're not. The bulls are not back in charge. Before I talk about upside, I do want to mention downside, because I have this area that I discussed in a recent video, this swing low area back here, to swing high, the all-time high. This was like my Fibonacci retracement, and I posted this on X, and I was like, you know what? I'm not buying right now. I will buy if we start kind of getting into the bottom of this range. And it was like down here, 65 to 62,000. That was like my kind of capitulation. If crypto's falling, if this tariff fear keeps going and something crazy happens, like true, just everything is flying to the downside. That was kind of my signal for altcoins. I was going to buy probably some ADA, maybe some more dog. That was what I was thinking. I saw my neighbor earlier, and he was like, he saw that video, he was kind of like, man, I'm waiting to see. And now we're bouncing to the upside. But I want to mention something. There is no guarantee that won't happen. This can still happen, and that's still in play for me. That is not a prediction, but it's just an area of interest for me. Everybody else out there, depending on your way of accumulating in these markets, you can do whatever you want, right? Maybe you want to aim for the upper end of the Fibonacci. Maybe you want it to capitulate well below the Fibonacci. That's my area. There, maybe a wick below if we get a capitulation. And you're like, why am I even talking about capitulation? And that's just because we get faked out so much in this market, and it's so in play. And a really good example is we continue to look back at recent consolidation, and you can find fractals all over the place. But swing high, we're out of it, bull market continuing, and then what happened? Nope. Boom. To be fair, the fear here, we've already surpassed that fear here. So there's a strong likelihood that the bottom could be in. But we have to see Bitcoin, and then we're going to look at altcoins. And I want to look at the total altcoin market cap, and I just want to look at some altcoins. But right here, Bitcoin on the daily, I mean, really, even in the short term, it's good to be cautious. 20-day moving average around $83,000, $83,500. We have the 50-day at 85. We have the 200-day at 87. So 87 to 83 is a resistance area. This right here, and it's crazy, we were all the way just down here in mid 70s. And now all of a sudden we are testing bull confirmation areas. So on the short term, if you're like me and you are watching, I will be watching to see if Bitcoin can break above that range. That is a lower high range that Bitcoin has been in for months. And that's what needs to be broken as a first step, broken to get bullish confirmation for me, the way that I do my analysis. And that's all it is, everybody. This is just my way of looking at the charts and visualizing things. So the first step is breaking above that range, 87,000 to 83,000. And then I want to see if Bitcoin can close daily candles above those areas, right? So perfect example is back here. That's a reversal. This right here is the beginning of bull confirmation. This is the kind of thing I want to see. And you notice, like, this could be a little bit of work for Bitcoin. We have to flip this 20-day from trending down to trending up. We need to flip these moving averages back up. And notice how the 50-day moving average just crossed below that 200-day moving average. Everybody just saying this is a very bearish signal. That exact move happened here. And that, guess what that was? That was the bottom. That signaled the bottom. But notice what happened there. Just some resistance at the moving averages, failing to stay above the moving averages, chopping back down. And this is what I'm saying. This could be what we're getting now. We might come to this exact range, get rejected, sideways, bouncing around. People are getting frustrated, pop up one more time, and then we're actually going down a little bit, or we're testing a higher low in the upper 70s again. I want to see how this plays out, and it might take a little time. I'm talking days. I'm talking even possibly weeks. So, but that's the bullish confirmation area. I mean, this green candle, which is actually pretty big, it might be over soon if we get this resistance at this range. Lastly, 83,000 to around 87,000 range is what we're looking at. So yes, that is a lagging indicator right there. And I think it makes a good headline, right? This 50 crossing below the 200 makes a good headline, but it's a lagging indicator. That is the picture of all the pain that we just survived. It's like, that's what that is. That's not, hey, there's so much more pain coming and high fear is coming. No, that is high fear is here. And we just went through a ton of pain, months worth of pain. So yes, good point, Colton Bryant in the chat. That is a lagging indicator. I don't know, is my title, is there something wrong with my title? I don't know. Because to me, Trump paused tariffs, crypto's going insane. Crypto's going insane. Is this confirmed news breaking right now? I don't know. SEC approves options trading for spot Ethereum ETFs. Is that like breaking right now? Dan, pull a bars pattern over 2024 and throw it on 2025. Are you talking for Bitcoin? Bitcoin on the weekly? Altcoin charts? What chart are you talking about? Maybe you're just talking about in general. So like bull market high to bull market high, and then bull market high. I mean, it really does. It does look similar. So maybe this move from a fractal perspective, and I'll say why I don't think this is the most accurate way to do it, but this fractal, and I don't know if this is the fractal you're talking about, but like this fractal right here is very similar, right? And here's even like the throwback to the neckline, and then one more swing high, not too much of a higher high. Maybe that is in play, right? Like maybe, and here this next move is altcoin season, right? The one thing I do want to say is things are a little different from a monetary cycle perspective, meaning like this top was right before, and not only just monetary cycle perspective, this top was right before quantitative tightening was getting ready to start, right? So we're getting ready to enter quantitative tightening slowing down and going into a new phase of monetary cycle and Fed balance sheet expansion. So, which is very bullish, by the way. That's what we're getting ready for. And not only that, everybody, back here, if you remember, this was FTX, this was Celsius, this was all of the mess, Luna, the collapse of crypto. This was SEC absolutely going after everybody, destroying everybody. If you notice, we are in a brand new time. So I don't know. I think that fractal is very cool and applicable and helpful, actually. However, I don't think it's fully relevant in terms of when you take into context all of the other data. If you're out there in the chat, please smash that like button on the way in. I appreciate you guys coming through. You're awesome, Dart. Thank you for just being here, and thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. Really do. Hopefully this market turn will get you to 400,000 subs. You deserve it. Thank you, man. I feel like I don't deserve anything. I'll be grateful for it. That is for sure. I've been at like 399 throughout this entire tariff mess. This is what happens when sentiment gets low. It gets very hard as a content creator to grow things. But yeah, hopefully things turn around. I can smash that 400K and we can start talking about 500K. Love you guys. The hunters. Let's go to look at some altcoins. Let's check out some altcoins. So Ethereum back at 1640. For me, it's funny because it was like we were hanging around this area, right? Around 1800. We're pumping out 1800, getting back above 2000. Then we're back at 1800 for days, if you see this. And mentally in my mind, I'm like, all right, man, 1800 is not that great for Ethereum. It's not a good look for altcoins, but okay. Hopefully we can kind of maintain that, and Ethereum maintains that. And we fell away from that range. You can see, obviously, because of all this high fear stuff. But there's so many different ways to look at it. Trump 1.0, tariff fears, high fear. That was the bottom, right? This was the falling away of ETH. Is this the falling away of ETH? Is this the bottom? Trump 2.0 tariff fears? It's an interesting way to look at it. It's for me an interesting thought exercise. I don't use that as some type of confirmation. I'm just curious to see how this plays out. But we have kind of this symmetrical triangle that we've talked a lot about, that Ethereum broke out of the lower range, the lower trend line. And what I'm watching, and then I want to look at Cardano and maybe other altcoins that you guys are watching out there, but we get this break to the downside. And I've been talking about the busted pattern that could be in play. And I think this is still in play, right? Because the target is quite low. I think it's like $500-$600. So a busted pattern is basically a fake out. It's looking like it's heading that direction, fakes out, and then we enter bull. That busted pattern is still in play. However, if we break down any more on Ethereum, I'm going to be done tracking that triangle and the potential for that bullish busted pattern, just because it will be too far overly extended from this lower trend line. The one thing that really just blows my mind in terms of altcoins, because we're looking at Ethereum, I think a move like that on Ethereum will be incredibly bullish. But the thing that blows my mind is, if I can find my post, where are we at, is this. The Mag 7 has been down 27%, altcoin market cap down 41%. Everybody, there's a 14% difference in terms of like top 7. And I'm talking about in the stock market. Altcoins down 41%. Crypto is holding in there, everybody. So if we look at the total altcoin market cap, I know it's been brutal, but we even compared recently kind of this move, and actually it's not even right now. I mean, if you look at it right now, ultimately it was down, actually it was around 42%, but right now it's down 35%. But we've even just been comparing this move back here, down 41%, down 35%. And I don't mean to repeat myself. I think I mentioned this in a video earlier, but just look at how strong altcoins are holding in there. So if we get this flippening in monetary cycle, if we get the end of tariffs, if markets start trending up, you can really see, if you take the time to zoom out, you can see how altcoin markets, strong possibility, have not even had their bull market yet. And that's massive in my opinion as an altcoin holder. But speaking of altcoins, we can go look at things like Cardano. So Cardano making a really nice move to the upside. And I really do think, I mean, cryptos are kind of going insane from swing low to swing high. ADA is up 23% on this chart, right? From these previous swing lows. And if you look at what we've been looking at in terms of something like ADA, look at the bullish divergence. Look at this bullish divergence. The higher low on the RSI And look at the price chart. Higher low on RSI. It was a lower low on price. Now we're starting to bounce out of the tariff fear. What's next, right? And it's exactly the same as Bitcoin. ADA is approaching massively important moving averages. The 20-day moving average at 67 cents. And really this confluent area at the 50, the 200 is around 73, 74 cents. And for ADA, and I know this is something I've been repeating, we've just been looking at very key data points that have not budged yet. But back here, this 200-week moving average, it is right around 71, 72 cents. If you want to really start talking about an ADA bull market, you know, on Ethereum, we have our indicator that could signal a bull market for altcoins. And it's kind of this throwback trending up. It requires Ethereum to break these moving averages. We have to keep an eye on that. ADA has its own chart, which I think signals for the bull market. That is this 200-week moving average, the lower end of the bull market doors, that red range. It's 72 cents. If ADA can break to 72 cents, we can start talking about, and it will be unpopular for me to do so because ADA will still be below $1, and I'll be saying, hey, we can start talking about bull market again for altcoins and ADA because ADA is back above 72 cents. But I'll be talking about it because that's what I'm waiting for. And I'm not saying the bull market is confirmed, but it's a 12% move to the 200-week. And then from there, it's the upper end of the bull market. You can imagine, maybe if things play out, I will eventually finally be doing a video that Cardano has broken its bull market doors. We've broken into the doors, but we've not broken the doors. We got rejected and faked out massively. This is where the frustration started for everybody. I mean, everybody, even me. This move is lame. I would have been fine with, you know, a throwback to 200-week, choppy continuation. It'd been awesome. Break the bull market doors. We're in a different zone, everybody. It's a way different cycle. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think we just need to adapt, be patient. And when I say we, that's just really my approach. I would like to see a dog TA as well, Dan. So we got zero over here, by the way. I saw reposting, I think my computer froze. We have zero, CCV agent. Going to be doing big things with this guy very soon in our intelligence platform, working with Indigo team, Eric over there running Indigo, the Chakra team. It's just going to be fun, everybody. So much value in terms of outside of agents tweeting and posting, because I don't think there's much value there. There can be some good insights, but it's what's happening on the back end. I'm so excited about it, everybody, especially if this bull market and if liquidity starts flowing into crypto. I'm not even talking about for like, hey, the next year or two of bull market. I'm just talking about long term. Things are about to get crazy. The tools that we have access to are about to get crazy good to make really good decisions. That's a rant, but zero reposting Leonidas, the founder of Dog. So this is for dog people, obviously, but I want to make mention of something. If I go to actually Leonidas' profile, so Dog's up, obviously, with everything else. Dog's making some moves. He actually reposts a lot. I don't know if this was the best deal to go over here, but basically, here we go. Well, there's Vincent. Vincent posted. You all know the news, everybody. Anyway, Dog is on Cardano. That's the news. Look at this. Dog. And it was the #1 trending token on Tap Tools. It's on Tap Tools. Do you believe that? Dog is on Tap Tools. Here's the Dog chart. I've been getting so much. You know what? There's just so many awesome dog holders out there. So it's way more positivity in terms of comments and stuff, and in terms of, I would say, vision. One thing, as I'm covering a meme coin here, this will be an overperformer in the bull market. I said it. I've been just saying it, you know, wherever we are on this chart. I think it's going to be an overperformer in the bull market. I think the Dog narrative is going to catch and it's going to be massive. But it's very unpopular to say something like that right now. And I understand, right? But I just want to let you know, I have my dog and my thesis has not changed, not a bit. And if anything, I'm becoming even more bullish, obviously on the crypto space, but on charts like dog. So all we have to wait for, all that I'm waiting for in terms of dog is everything that we just talked about in terms of ADA and Ethereum and the altcoin markets in general and liquidity coming into play. Once that happens, the number one meme coin on Bitcoin that is now going multi-chain, it's on Solana, it's now on Cardano, and we're not even talking about tier one listings and just liquidity flowing in to dog. It's going to do insane. I just think that. And that's just my opinion. I never sit here and tell people to go buy dog. Don't go buy dog if you don't want to. But this is a big part of my portfolio. And do I like that it's down so much? No. But have I seen this thing play out time and time again over the cycles in crypto? Absolutely. And so we've been ready for this move to the downside if it was going to happen. Unfortunately, it happened. But again, that's crypto. To the upside, it's the same thing. We need to flip the script. The 20 and the 50. The 50 goes up to around 0.002. We're at 0.0014. Once you see dog start flipping that script, I don't know when it will be. We might get resistance, come back down. I don't know what it will look like. Pay attention, because from these swing lows, and we're talking like $100 million market cap, we've already tested just below $1 billion. It's these types of plays where 10Xs become things that can happen very fast. And also not only 10Xs, but in terms of if altcoin season happens, if dog narrative catches 20X, I mean, this right here would be 100X from recent lows, and $10 billion is just $10 billion. Think about where Doge ran to. So again, the upside is there. I don't want to pump it. I just want to cover the charts. I'm waiting to see if moving averages on dog flip, and then really just we need a reversal on all these altcoin charts. So that is dog. What other coins you guys holding out there? What up? What is up, everybody? You know what? What's crazy is since I've been live, the crypto prices they've not budged once. I think we did some good analysis. I really do. Solana, I haven't looked at a Solana chart in quite some time. How's that been holding up? Up 13% currently. That's the weekly. Crazy. I mean, because if you look at just any of these charts, and I don't think we're in the middle of, or I don't think we're at the beginning of a bear market, right? So with that being said, if we're not at the beginning of a bear market, so we're not really comparing this overextension from the 20, we could be kind of a similar move to, just kind of capitulation environment. It's not the end of a bear market. But point I'm trying to make is just kind of this overextension below the 20-week moving average. Ultimately, no matter what part of the cycle we're in, as long as it's not the beginning of a bear market, it's just a great reset on all of these charts. So you can see it there. And there's a very strong possibility that I know this chart, the 20 looks like it's about to head right through the 50 and boom, it's game over, bear market. I just don't think that's where we are in the cycles. I think if anything, what could happen is if we're looking at that 20-week moving average, we might have kind of just like a little hit of the 50-week moving average, right? So if Solana can flip this chart, it will be something like that. But either way, this 20 getting very close to the 50 is kind of reminiscent of the daily chart on Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is if you go to Bitcoin and we look at the daily, it's kind of like, ooh, this 50-day moving average approaching the 200 and actually crossing, man, that's terrible looking. But actually it was a signal for it could be a signal for a bottom. We already discussed, it was a signal of the bottom back here. So But back there, oh man, we're about to get to 50 crossing below the 200. That looks terrible, but it was the bottom. So when I'm looking at something like Solana on the weekly, it's a very similar concept when we're looking at moving averages. It's like, oh, that looks so bad, but that might be the bottom, right? The consolidation of those moving averages. And to like a lesser degree, you can kind of see the 20 was approaching the 50 back here, right? And it's like, it ended up being, as it compressed so much, the end of the consolidation, and it was blast off for Solana. So even more so, we might be in that environment for something like Solana. And it doesn't matter if you hold Solana or not. I think it's just good to look at all these altcoin charts and get a sense of like, hey, what could a bullish reversal look like for these charts? Because if Solana's doing good, Ethereum's doing good, ADA's doing good, everybody's winning, that's the environment that I think people are waiting for and, you know, people enjoy seeing. So you can buy dog on Solana now. You can buy dog on Cardano now. You go over to Tap Tools. You can buy dog there. You can buy dog on the Xverse wallet. You can buy dog in many places. Not on any of the tier 1 exchanges just yet, but, you know, many places. I have to, yep. M2 money supply, quantitative easing, bull market. Can you imagine? And the M2 money supply trending upwards, right? It's a lot of ingredients all at once. Yeah, dog is now in Slingshot. I think that, isn't that like news today, or like, is it definitely now in Slingshot? Dog is everywhere. We got 5,200 people here. Midday. Pretty nice. Hit that like button on the way in, everybody. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Well, that escalated quick. I agree. Okay, people don't like my insane title. What should I mean? Give me recommendations. I'll change it. Come on. Doing my best. I mean, that's a pretty insane weekly candle. That's just my thought. Eric Carlson, what's up, Eric? Thanks for cruising through. Chat and comments have been such a hole towards you. Now, where are those bears? The bears, they don't really come out as much during pumps. And that's okay. I don't know if they're bears or bots, but no matter what, we love them. We love them. Thank you. I'm going to call it what it is. It is insane. It is insane. Is it? I should ask, because what's crazy with the market lately, and I don't know if you experienced this or thought this, but like, it does seem like news is dropping multiple times a day. The environment in which we're in right now is next level. I should take a look at this post because somebody just mentioned it. Maybe, just maybe, it was this easy. Global M2. There it is. And so basically Global M2, and I think there's different versions of this, but here's a 12 week lead. So you can see in black is Global M2, Global M2 money supply, and it kind of trends upwards or downwards prior to crypto, prior to, in this case, Bitcoin, what you see here. So it's like, just look at that. There, I believe right here, the black downtrend is the leading indicator of all the consolidation that we just went through. And now you can see that pumping up to the upside, 12-week lead. Are we getting ready to see a pump because of this chart? This has been, if you look back, quite accurate. So there's no guarantee here, but I'm just saying, as Raul here is saying, maybe, just maybe it was this easy. And I really just don't know. Somebody says, at what levels do we call a reversal? It's always tough, right? This is why for me, I'm just kind of like, number one, I always like to go back. And I know I use this one because it's just right on the screen in August. I like to just go back and look at reversals in general. And the thing I tell myself constantly is they take a while, no matter where you're looking at a reversal. But for me, again, and this is only my approach. Other people have different approaches on how they're going to be like, you know, this is a reversal. This is a bullish confirmation. And this is a lot of what my video was about today. It is these moving averages. It's a very big deal for me because when I go back and I look at all of these indicators, and by the way, this is a very big piece of it, right? But I never like to use one indicator alone or one data set alone. What I'm considering as well right now, as I'm talking about this, it's the flipping of these moving averages. So for Bitcoin, $83,000 to $87,000, flipping above that, closing daily candles above that area and above these moving averages. That's key for reversal confirmation. But while I'm saying that, I am thinking of all of these other data points, like this one. So I'm not saying this confirms it more, but I am saying, wouldn't you like to look at a Bitcoin chart on the daily and say, okay, historically, we get reversals. Really, what Bitcoin does is it closes above moving averages finally after just, resistance. It finally closes above and stays above. But wouldn't you like to sprinkle other data, bullish data, onto that? So here's one piece. Here's one thing to sprinkle onto that. We have the 12-week lead of global M2 trending upwards, and Bitcoin's getting very close to catching up. So that's one piece of data. And then another consideration, as Bitcoin is kind of, at war with the moving averages right now, it's just below it. Another consideration would be, wouldn't you like for Bitcoin to flip those moving averages? And it actually happens when we're coming off of like a record-breaking fear event on the S&P 500 fear index. So we're talking, here's COVID fear. Here's the 2018 tariff fear. Here's a 2008 market crash, which we didn't get that high, but we wicked into it. So as on the short term, Bitcoin is trying to break this trend into the reversal as you're looking for to be able to call reversal. Wouldn't you like to sprinkle that on too? So we sprinkle on the fact that we're coming out of a high fear environment. Maybe the tariff stuff ends. We sprinkle on M2 money supply leading indicator, 12-week lead. And we sprinkle on, the dollar. Look at the dollar trending down. This is all I've been talking about since I think at like 109, 108. And I don't know if it will continue. We have to monitor. But Trump's first term, the fractal, we've been talking about since up here somewhere. Following that, we even have a wedge that's very similar to back then. So we have the quantitative tightening. So we sprinkle the dollar onto this happening, this potential happening of flipping moving averages. Quantitative tightening coming to an end. There's a lot of other things in play with Bitcoin's move right now. So that's why I think it becomes even more solidified as a really, it's not guaranteed, but it's definitely a valuable indicator, I think, because let me put it this way, if we're at resistance right now, we have to be careful no matter what, even now with all those bullish things potentially in play. But if we're at resistance right here and the dollar's pumping and the fear index is like down here, right? There's no fear. We're actually in greed territory. And global money supply is at a 12-week lead, but it's actually trending down and Bitcoin's about to catch up to that. Then it's different. Then we don't have the confluence of all these bullish things while this is happening. And really what I'm talking about right now, all of these moving factors, this is like a huge part of why I'm building the Crypto Capital Venture Intelligence system with Alessandro and Axel. They're the devs just building the risk models right now, and they're building everything right now because it's taking all of this data, and I'm just trying to always just, you guys see, I'm trying to condense it into like 10-minute videos all the time, and there's just so much. So I want to build this system and this platform that will have all of the data nicely visualized, coming together with overlays, and you can see it just coming together. You can get a quicker insight into the confluence of data, bearish or bullish, and we'll have features like the take profit indicator or take profit tool, and other things, very exciting things I just can't even mention right now publicly. So I do want to say I started with it. Be careful. And I saw somebody in the comment, we're at this resistance range. So be careful with Bitcoin. Don't be surprised if we get faked out and we come back down. We're testing into the 70s again. Don't be surprised. There's that red neckline area. And so the same is true on altcoin market charts. We go to excluding Bitcoin and ETH. There's the moving averages. Don't be surprised. And we can even, if we want, just take the fractal that we're already in and just be like, don't be surprised if we just keep kind of seeing resistance, right? Trending up and then boom, right back down. So it's really just a matter of flipping these areas of resistance. And it really is a very simple method in terms of watching the charts because it's been rejected there. It's just been constantly rejected since the swing highs all the way back here in January. So if it starts flipping and we're breaking these areas, it's a very good first sign to start talking about a reversal. So that's a very long answer, but those are kind of my thoughts in terms of the reversal. So in the description, there is a link. If you want to get early access, we're going to fairly price the CCV intelligence system, and we are going to be adding so many features even after we launch. But if you want to get early access, I need to brainstorm with the team, maybe some other benefits. Just click the link in the description. This is a snapshot of the exit planner tool. Obviously, it's like a research preview, but it's coming along very well. You can track all your gains. You can plan your exit strategy, and there's no better time, everybody, than to start doing something like this and starting to plan. If we're going to get this bull run, having the plan in high fear environments, it's the best time to plan. It sounds ridiculous to talk about gains, but it's the best time to plan. So hit the link in the description if you want to check that out. And let's see what happens. I don't know. I mean, if crypto just does something else that is insane, I'll probably do I'll do a video tonight. I don't know. It's the second video of the day right now, but I'm enjoying tracking the market. But be very careful of resistance at these levels. We're at the key moving average areas just below. And let's just keep an eye to see if we can break those areas. So thank you for cruising through. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, turn notifications on, and smash the like button on the way out real quick. It means a ton to me. And I'll see you in the next video. God bless.